Let's get this Wednesday started. Good evening, Crumbers. I say it every week. I amaze myself this actually works when the camera goes live and I can see myself. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Kitchen Live on a Wednesday evening. We are now officially 2 days into Christmas, 2 days into Advent. So yay, it's exciting. So about a minute and a half, if you've not joined us before, what we do is we just give everybody a chance to get in and then we'll get going with the recipe today. I hope wherever you are, you're all safe and well. We've come out of lockdown in the UK into our new tier system. We are in tier 2 here in the Cotswolds. I know some of you guys are in tier 3 and also in tier 1, but I hope wherever you are, everybody is safe and well and getting ready now. This is the countdown. 3 and a bit weeks till Christmas. But today we're going to be doing a little Christmas treat that if you want to, you can make them and keep them all for yourself. But if you want to feel generous, you can give them to your friends, your neighbours, or even leave them out for Santa in a COVID-friendly cookie dessert for Christmas Eve. But we are going to be making New York style chocolate orange cookies in about 30 seconds. So yeah, if you're here, if you're joining us on the Facebook page, YouTube, or in the Facebook group, hi, I hope everybody's well. Good evening here from the very dark Cotswolds. And then yeah, we're gonna this one's gonna be a nice, quick and easy one, I hope. Fingers crossed. So 2, 1, let's go. Let's get stuck into this recipe this evening. And here we are with a cookie as big as my head. Well, almost as big as my head. It is sort of obviously perspective. I'm hoping that we're all okay. On Sunday, we had a few bandwidth issues. I think it came more via Facebook and the streaming service that we're using. So if there's any issues, can you please let me know and then I'll give it a try. Hopefully we are all in sync and it doesn't look blurry. But if anything over here on the recipe it looks blurry, please can you give me a shout out? Because for me, it looks as it should do, and I'm hoping it still does. But hopefully it's all okay. What we are doing today is we're doing chocolate orange cookies, and these are big, thick, chewy on the outside and gooey in the center cookies. These are New York style cookies. And for me, they are probably the perfect cookie because they're really nice in the middle and you've got that little crunchy edge with all the sugar caramelizing around the outside. They're full of chunks of shards of chocolate. We're not using chocolate drops or anything like that. We're just going to chop up our chocolate and throw it all in. And they're really, really quick and easy to make. It's a really simple cookie dough and you can get them in the oven. And they take about 12 to 13 minutes at the most in the oven to bake. So you can do this within about 30 minutes. And you need to leave them to cool just for a little bit once they get out of the oven. But then if you want to eat them whilst they're still a bit warm and they're all really nice and soft and gooey in the middle. It's also a really easy recipe to adapt. The one here in the picture is just a normal chocolate cookie that I was trying out the recipe a couple of weeks ago now. We're going to be doing a chocolate orange version this evening, but you can mix this up and tweak it and do whatever you need with it. And they're inspired by the Levan Bakery in New York. If you've not heard or seen them before, they're really big, thick cookies with this nice gooey bit in the center. People queue around the block for them freshly baked, and they're amazing. When we were in New York last year, I really wanted to go, and actually we stumbled across it and there was no queue. We were really lucky. We got in when there was no queue, and we managed to snaffle a couple and walk through Central Park eating them, and they are amazing. Their most famous one is a chopped chip and walnut cookie with big chunks of walnuts in it. I'm not doing that. Like I say, we're doing chocolate orange ones for Christmas and for Santa. So this is where we're going with it. They are quite big, not quite as big as my head, but they are quite big. But we're going to make some slightly smaller ones, so you can make different sizes here. So ingredients wise, we're going to be using just very simple ingredients. Once again, we've got a 115 grams of butter here. This is slightly salted. As always, if you prefer to use unsalted, just add a little pinch of fine sea salt, just a pinch, not too much. And this has been at room temperature, so this is nice and soft because we're going to be creaming it in the stand mixer. We've got 2 types of sugar here. We're making a chocolate cookie, and we're using a light brown or a soft light brown sugar or light muscovado sugar, and also some white caster sugar. This is the brown sugar is going to give the cookie that really nice, rich, caramelly taste, and through that, and give it that nice softness as well. Whilst our white caster sugar is going to give it those little chewy edges as well. But the mixture of 2 keeps them soft and nice as well, and chewy and perfect on the outside. Hi, Crumbers! Hey! Hi, Gina! Good evening! And she says, no Wi-Fi issues here this week. Yay! I'm hoping we're all okay on the streaming. Like I say, if anybody notices anything, give me a shout, because I can't see any issues sort of from my end, but there was Facebook streaming bandwidth problems on Sunday, so it's all a bit blurry if you watch that one. It's probably a better look for me, but hey, yeah, so there are 2 sugars, the soft brown sugar and the white caster sugar. If you want a more deeper, richer taste, a bit like we talked about with chocolate cakes and things, you can use a dark muscovado sugar as well, but we're using the light one, or you can use a soft light brown sugar. We're just going to be using 1 egg for this, so 1 single egg that's been out at room temperature, that's medium. And we're then going to be using a plain flour, no raising agents here, so this is just a plain or all-purpose flour, 200 grams of that, and we're also then making this up to 245, so 45 grams of cocoa powder. I'm using, because I've run out of regular one, I'm just using the really dark cocoa powder that you've seen me use before for things like the chocolate cakes and things. This is like, so it's going to give you a really darker colour. This would be like you'd use for Oreos, etc. But you can use a regular cocoa powder. Also, if you don't want to make this as a chocolate cookie with chocolate and all that chocolate orange, you can just use full plain flour and make that 240 grams instead of splitting across the 2. We're also going to be checking in, because quite literally we're going to check it. We've got 200 grams mixed of just regular milk and dark chocolate. And I chopped this up just with a knife before we started. So this is all in, like, as you can see, lots of little shards of chocolate. You can use chocolate drops if you prefer. This just makes it, when it's dispersed through the cookie and it's baked, it just gives you these big different size pockets and flecks of chocolate through the cookie as well. And we're also going to be using a chocolate orange. I haven't chopped the chocolate orange up because this is the only one I have at the moment, and I need this to go on top of the cookies. But if you've got several chocolate oranges, you can, instead of chopping up regular milk and dark chocolate, you can chop up your chocolate orange instead. So to add a little bit of extra orange flavour into the cookies, I'm just using a regular orange extract. And again, this is optional if you're using a chocolate orange or an orange chocolate. Instead, you can do it that way. If you don't want to add the orange and you don't want to add the chocolate orange to the top, just leave it as it is and have chocolate chip or chocolate chunk cookies. And you could maybe add some white chocolate in it here as well, so you get those triple chocolate with the white, the dark, and the milk. So there are ingredients. They are quite very simple, they're very basic, nothing fancy going on here. In terms of equipment, then, we are doing this in a stand mixer. You can do it with a handheld mixer, or you can do it by hand again in a big bowl with a wooden spoon if you're feeling like you want to get some arm exercise in. And we're also going to be using an ice cream scoop for portioning our cookies. This again is optional. You can eyeball it, weigh it, use spoons or various bits and pieces. But if you've got one of these hanging around in the drawer, they are great for scooping out cupcake batter mix and also for cookies, so you get all the even size. So that's that. Oh, yes, and you'll also need some baking trays, some cookie sheets. Going to jump over to Facebook to watch. Picture is a bit fuzzy here. Oh, okie doke, fingers crossed. I'm hoping it's fine. Oh, it's so much clearer on Facebook, Gina says. Yay! Thank you. That's great. Great to see and hear that it's okay. I think everybody's now just is streaming. There's lots going on. So yeah, bandwidth things. We've got, so we're just using a couple of sheets, cookie sheets or baking trays. These are just flat ones with a little lip on the end for getting them in and out, but you can use any sort of baking tray. And you'll want some baking parchment to go on these, or I've got silicone baking mats as well, if you've got those. But we're going to make about, depends what size, weight cookies you go for, but we're probably going to be making about 10 to 12 with this batch. This is actually a half portion batch. The Levain cookies are massive, and they weigh about 6 ounces when they're baked. You know, they're big old cookies, and they are huge. And before we went to New York, and I was doing a little bit of research on it, the guys at Levain Bakery who developed them, they bake them as a, here we go, this is one for you, Gina, with your fitness and your dance and everything on your channel. They developed these cookies as something to have as to fuel your workout, which to me sounds amazing, but you do not want to know how many calories are in one of these. They've also been made quite famous by the likes of Taylor Swift and all of that for the young folk who absolutely adore these cookies. But I can guarantee, hand on heart, we've tried them. They are amazing. But this is how to make them at home. You don't have to go all the way to New York. So then, in terms of what we're going to do, we're going to start off then with, I just think, that's fine, our little touch screen thing for moving it. So into the bowl or your mixing bowl, we're going to add in first off our butter. So it's 115 grams, slightly salted, cubed and at room temperature. And then we're going to add our 2 sugars. So this is 120 grams of the soft light brown sugar. In it goes. And then the 70 grams of caster sugar. And then we're just going to pop that on to mix through until a bit like making cake, creaming the butter and the sugar together. It sounds like it needs a bit of WD-40 on. What did Gina say? Oh, energy bombs could do with a 20 right now. I've got Zumba tomorrow, and I think I'm going to have one of these to keep me going. So you want to be mixing it on about medium. So we're creaming that butter and that sugar together, just like you would do with a cake, until it's nice and light and pale. So let's just pop it up a little bit more. And the dark brown sugar in here smells really caramelly. It's amazing. So it's got that big smell to Christmassy as well. Yeah. This is almost there. It doesn't take long. But it's key for your butter to be at room temperature. And actually, whilst that's just going, what we'll do is we'll pop the oven on to preheat. So as usual, about 180 degrees C, 350 Fahrenheit. And I'll repeat that once this is off. Nearly there. This is a bit, you have to just wait for the butter and the sugar. Can't wait for magic ones, unfortunately. Oh, come on, Mr. KitchenAid. He needs a service after Christmas. So scrape down your butter and your sugar. There. So we've got our butter and our sugar cream, and I'm just going to scrape that all down into the middle. It's nice and soft. Let's just grab one of them. So next in then is our egg. So straight in with the egg. Again, one medium, one at room temperature. Put that aside. And I'm also going to add a little bit of orange extract. If you don't want to make the orange version and you're just making a regular chocolate one, just pop a teaspoon of vanilla extract in instead. So this is, because I'm not using chocolate orange, I'm using the orange extract. It smells amazing. So that's just a teaspoon of that in there. And again, we're going to pop that back on. This is our egg and our orange extract in with our butter and sugar mix. So start it off low and then start bringing it all together. Don't worry, it might curl a little bit, but don't worry, you can add a little bit of flour to it. But we're going to add these dry ingredients next anyway. So just going to whisk this a little bit more together to incorporate everything through. So that's our egg combined in there with the orange extract. And again, make sure we get everything off here. And like I say, you can do this with a handheld mixer if you prefer, or you can do this by hand with some sheer brute strength. So our eggs and our sugar and everything and our butter is well combined. Next in then is our dry ingredients. Told you this was a quick one. So 240 grams of plain flour or all-purpose flour, and 200 grams of plain or all-purpose flour, and then 45 grams of cocoa powder. Ooh, I've seen a question. I'm just going to pop this on to mix through just gently, and then we'll have a look. So to start with, I'm just going to mix this through, but I'm not going to over mix it. So just gently on low to start combining everything together into a cookie dough. And then just bring it a bit more. You might find, if you want to, if it's a bit too dry, just add a touch of milk. And remember, I've got the really dark cocoa powder in here, so I'm going for a really dark chocolate chip cookie. So whilst I scrape down this, it says, what would my typical Christmas Day dessert be, not including Christmas cake or pudding? Wow. See, because I've got my nut allergy, I do tend to not have Christmas pudding. Because obviously it's usually got nuts in it, and although I make Christmas cake, I'm not a huge fan of it. So for me, I love Christmas dinner, and I probably eat far too much of it than I should do. So I like something really nice and light, and I love a really good pavlova, like fruits, and I know the cream bit, we've got that. But I love a really lovely, fruity, creamy berry pavlova is my Christmas Day dessert, and in fact, it's probably normally what I go for most of the time. Or my mother-in-law does this with fruits again. This it's like a creme brulee, but it's got it's not underneath. It's like got a brulee top with the sugar, but underneath it must be like a WI or a Delia recipe, because that's where she cooks from, but a lot. But it's got Greek yogurt, and it's amazing. I can eat it. I can eat the entire lot. But it's usually then like fighting between us and my father-in-law and the rest of us who gets the bowl. So for me, yeah, something fruity, something light, a little bit of cream in there, and a pavlova would be my ideal Christmas pudding. I'm going to actually, this is a bit stiff, so that's fine. This is what it looks like at the moment. I'm going to drop in. I'd love to know actually what everybody else's typical Christmas Day desserts would be. Because I mean, everything. The other thing we do is we end up buying or making like chocolate logs as well. So I am also not impartial to having maybe 2 desserts on Christmas Day. Oh, is it? Pavlova is a winner here. He's going to try your Bailey's cheesecake this year. Excellent. Again, with that, and I did say, and I've said on other things, is if you're not alcohol, if you don't want the Baileys or anything like that, you can leave that out or substitute it for flavourings as well. So yeah, the Bailey's cheesecake is good. I normally make a cheesecake because we're normally at my brother's, and then we spend time with my brother up in the Midlands and his family and my nephews, and then we come back because my mum's normally in Spain or away. And then we come back and then we have a second Christmas with Ian's family here. And it's just nice seeing the boys on Christmas Day. The nephews get all really excited, and so does Auntie Lou. But cheesecake is normally what we do. So the last couple of years we did the cherries chocolate orange one and the Biscoff one. This year I'm not going to have done one. So and we're going to my in-laws. So I'm hoping we've got pavlova or this Greek yogurt brulee thing going on. It'd be amazing. I'm just going to add a touch of milk to my cookie dough. It's looking, for me, and it can do, and I did say it might do, it's just looking a little too thick. So let's get the milk out. I'm just going to add a drop just to help it a little bit, not too much, because we don't want wet cookie dough. So let's just mix that through. That's better. There it goes. Yeah, but I will make, although we've got 1,000,001 desserts kicking around at the moment. Ian's just finished the coffee cake from last week, and we've got the Black Forest cheesecake from the weekend as well to go. And I know I'm so far behind on writing posts, so if anybody wants recipes, just shout me and things. Right, come on, Mr. KitchenAid, you're just having a moment. There it is. So this then, I've just added that little touch of milk to help bring everything together a little bit more. The problem with cocoa powder is it can be quite drying, so you might find that you need just a little bit of liquid to help bind it together. But all I did was, it was probably no more than a teaspoon that I added in. If you have to, start low and add up, but it doesn't want to be sticky, it just wants to be coming together. So, oops, and then from here, I'm just going to add now in these chocolate shards. So this is milk and dark chocolate just chopped up with a knife, and then, like I say, you can use an orange chocolate, you can use a chocolate orange if you've got one, or you can add some white chocolate in there as well. or chocolate chips if you prefer. And that's it. That's all we're going to be doing. So just mix it through gently. We're not mixing it through too much. So let's go into here then. So this is the messy bit. I have preheated, like I said, I would tell you what I preheated the oven to, because I did it whilst the stand mixer was on. Preheated the oven to 180 degrees C, which is 350 Fahrenheit. Here, oops, throwing it at me. Let's get everything off in there. And ready to go with the next bit. So just pull it all together in here. And next up, so I think the thing that I Christmas puddings want to have as dessert. My thing is, it's always, what am I going to eat for the rest of the Christmas time that I'm off between going back to work? And we've started to look at food for Christmas, because I'm still trying to be good and not go into supermarkets or anything with my chest, my asthma. So I've been sat there on all the various online shopping things, sort of looking at everybody's different food options. Of what I want to eat, and sort of trying to plan ahead, which is very bizarre, because normally, we'd go and do a shop, but not this year. I'd rather stay home, and I've got actually used to having the shopping delivered, which is terrible thing to say, but yes, and not standing in the supermarket on a Saturday morning. But yes, planning what we're having for the next sort of 5 days after Christmas, and then planning what I'm going to have and get back on the old diet when I get back to work. So then our cookie mix, what we're going to be doing is, you can do this by hand if you want, is to shape it into balls and weigh them out. So you're looking at maybe, let's weigh one out. I'm going to do it with the ice cream scoop, but let's weigh one out as well. And the thing with these New York style cookies, with the lavender inspired cookies, is they're big and chunky and they're gooey inside. And when you normally bake a cookie, you normally flatten it a little bit. What you do is you put them into the oven as the ball and you let it spread. So it will spread out and it will go all nice and chewy cookie around the edges. But in the middle of our cookie, it's still a little bit unctuous, a little bit gooey, a little bit warm, and it's all melted together. There. So you want to be making them into balls. Now, that's where our ice cream scoop comes in handy. So all I've done here is just scoop out the dough with the ice cream, scoop with the ice cream scoop. And I can then just place it nicely onto my baking sheet. I mean, how simple is that? I mean, it's great. So let's fill a sheet up with those, and then we'll look at doing it by hand. Now, they are going to spread, so you need to make sure you leave a good couple of inches between each one. These cookies would be lovely in the summer too. It's an ice cream sandwich. Yes, they are. They're really sort of, if you're doing them as an ice cream sandwich, this sort of size is perfect. They'll spread out and then you could put them together. The other ones that are good for an ice cream sandwich is doing these as an oatmeal and raisin one, where you substitute some of the flour for oatmeal, porridge oats, rolled oats, and you add raisins in instead. I mean, then you've got a little bit of spice with the cinnamon and all sorts. I'll just move that a bit close. I'm going to move it back. And as you see, it's nice and easy with an ice cream scoop here, just to scoop out and get it. Oops. I'll probably get 6 on a tray. I'm going to get this one in, and then we'll do a batch by hand, and I'll get messy. So I'm just going to give these a little bit of maneuver around on the baking sheet. So I've got 6 on here. They've got about 2 inches between each of them, so these can go straight in and they'll flatten and they'll spread. But we're still, because we've got this, we're going to get this nice gooey centre. They'll go in for about 12 to 13 minutes, but towards the end of the bake, about 10 minutes in, we're going to pop a slice of the chocolate orange on top. If we put it on now, it's just going to melt in, but just putting it in at that last sort of for the last couple of minutes, it bakes in, but also you're not disintegrating, you're not losing your chocolate orange. So we're going to pop these in now. 180, 350 Fahrenheit, and they're going in around the middle shelf. If you've got a fan oven, it's not too problematic. If you've got top and bottom heating elements, not a fan, you want to put both on and then put in the middle to allow a good air circulation. So 10 minutes then for those before we put our chocolate orange on the top. Before we set out our second batch though, we're just gonna do get the old chocolate orange ready. And they still say tap. No. I found earlier actually on the whole sort of Christmas food shopping thing, I found them white chocolate ones as well, the mini segments that we use for chocolate orange cheesecake. I thought you meant to tap these, or you used to, and it used to say tap. I think they've done it now, so you can, it just pulls away. There we go. Ian's going to be so happy there's a chocolate orange open in the house now. So I'm just going to pop that in there, but these are ready for when my 10 minutes go on the beeper, we can put those in. So let's just then have a look at making these, weighing them out by hand. I want to be using sort of similar, the same. So for what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to there we go, we're back. So I wanted to figure out how much a scoop is, so I've just scooped out, but here's my cookie in my hand, and I'm just gonna form it into a ball there, and on my scales I'm gonna weigh it. So it's about 65 grams, which in ounces, let's do this is 2 1/4, so between 2 and 3 ounces for your cookie ball. So that is just as a ball, and again, just the same as we did with the scoops, just pop it onto the tray there. And let's do another one whilst we're here. Again, this is stuff you can do with the kids as well. So there we go. Let's put this back to grams. Somebody asked actually the other day, they were making one of the recipes from the blog, and I had an inquiry about measurements. Because I know some guys that are in the States or in Canada or over in Australia, and if people aren't weighing, if you're not using the metric, you're not using weighing scales, there is a conversion on there to cups if you use volumetric measures. So they do, and they come through, and it might say 1.1 cup or something like that. Your best, to your knowledge, is to usually, depending on where it is or what ingredient it is, to round it. If it's 1.1, I'd round it down. If it's 1.4, I'd round it up. But ultimately, and best is baking is a science, so I can't urge any more than enough to grab yourselves a set of kitchen scales. These ones that I've got, these have got 2 on either side. I've got fine for weighing for small measurements on this side, but I've also got, I can weigh up several kilos on this side. But you can buy ones that are just like that, and your baking will so much improve. I think we talked about it in the summer when we talked about flour, is that actually you know, if you're scooping a cup of flour, it's very different to actually weighing it out, because if you pack that flour in, the ratio is totally different to the quantity that you need to actually weigh out. So I've just then made 5 here of the same, and they're about 2 to 3 ounces worth of cookie dough. Just made them into the balls, and they're just going to do exactly like our cookies are doing in there at the moment. Let me just clean off the hands. Right, and as you can see in here, these guys, probably you can see, maybe not, but they've now started to flatten down. They're no longer looking in this ball sort of shape. So we're going to get this middle bit that's still a little bit gooey in the center, whilst we get the crispy cookie edges on the outside. They're looking good, actually. I don't have any ice cream to have with them. You've got me thinking now about ice cream cookies, Gina. And yes, they ice cream cookie sandwiches. In fact, we're going to be making some quick homemade Christmas ice cream at some point as well. Hopefully before we finish before Christmas. So let's just see. This is pretty much all we can do. Once they're cooked, and once the beeper goes, we'll put the chocolate orange segments on the top for another 2 minutes, and then we'll let them finish baking, and we'll take them out. And when they come out, you want to leave them on the tray for a couple of minutes, because they are still baking a little bit. If you try and remove them too soon, they're still quite soft and delicate, so they're going to break up. So let them just cool on the tray for the moment, then transfer them to a wire rack, and then you can have them however you want, with a cup of tea, with the ice cream. You can share them with your friends and your neighbours, or you can leave them out for Santa, because our Santa here loves this sort of cookie. So it's a good one as well. And the thing is, you could do them the Christmas Eve as well. So, you know, they're all fresh and they're all perfect in the centre for Santa as well. I can smell them from here. The thing is, I can smell them, and I haven't had my dinner yet, so I know that I'm going in for them as soon as I can. We watched all the food programmes have started again, so it was MasterChef and Great British Menu last night in this house. So I had to eat before we watched the program, or whilst we were watching programmes, which we don't normally do, but because these things make me so hungry, and now all I can do is smell these, and I do feel hungry. They're looking really good, actually. They've flattened out. If you want to sort of keep them a bit more solid, you can chill them in the fridge for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes before popping them in the oven, and they won't spread as much. But yes, that's sort of we're going for that sort of unctuous centre there. So let's just have a quick recap. I think my little touchscreen thing has lost connection, so we're going to try and press rest. Oh no, it's still working. Yay! So these have been chocolate orange cookies. They're this big, thick, as you can see, these are waiting to go in, big, thick, chewy New York style cookies that have been made famous by Levan Bakery. And for all you Swifties out there, they are one of Taylor Swift's favourites. But for me, they're the perfect cookie because they're crispy around the outside, they're still gooey in the middle, and if you have them whilst they're warm, you get that sort of nice melted chocolate. And as Gina's rightly said, they make an amazing ice cream sandwich, cookie sandwich as well. You can use, I've used normal chocolate inside and a little bit of orange extract, but you can use chocolate orange, you can use dark chocolate, white chocolate, milk chocolate, however you want. You can leave the cocoa powder out of the cookie dough mix as well and just have a plain chocolate chip cookie. But they're really quick and easy to make, and then do them in under 30 minutes. And about 10 to 12 minutes in the oven as well. And you can adapt the recipe. So for Christmas, you could actually do a normal one. You could use white chocolate and cranberries in there. Have really big, actually I've got some cranberries and white chocolate. I'm thinking about that. You could have white chocolate and cranberry ones in there. You could have some spiced fruits, some cinnamon ones, some sultana ones, all sorts. You could put pieces of orange, candied orange through these as well. But it's quite an easy recipe to adapt. Now these are inspired by Levan Bakery in New York. They are New York style cookies. The thing is they are a very closely guarded secret. So this is my take on them, replicating how I remember them when we were in New York and remember eating them walking through a very frosty Central Park in February last year. But they're as good as I can get them without knowing the full secret. Ingredients wise, we've just got butter, 2 types of sugar, the soft brown sugar for that really nice caramelly soft cookie, and the caster sugar in there just to give that chewy crispiness on the edge of the cookie as well. We've got 1 egg, and we're using a little bit of orange extract. If you don't want to use that and want to keep them regular, just swap that for vanilla instead. Plain flour, there's no raising agents. We don't want them to puff up, we want them to melt down. Let's just pop our chocolate orange segments on the top of these. And take them out. Oops. Pop these on. Oh my life, they smell amazing. And I'm just, I don't know if you can see on camera, just off the side, but I'm just popping the chocolate orange segments in there. Oh, they are going to be immense. They're not going to last very long in this house, trust me. Back in on the center, just for another, I'm going to do those, they're normally about 12 to 13 minutes in total, so I'm going on for 2.5 minutes there. Just leave that to the side. So that's the chocolate orange segments in there, and they do smell amazing. So yeah, sorry, plain flour, no raising agents. We've got them in balls, they're going to melt down, we're going to get that nice thick scent still, so we don't want them to puff up, so there's no raising agents, just plain all-purpose flour. And with these, because we've gone for a chocolate cookie, they've got cocoa powder in there instead as well, sorry. If you don't want to make them as a chocolate, switch the cocoa powder back for the plain flour, so this would be 245 grams of plain flour. I've got 200 grams of chopped dark and milk chocolate in there. You can use chocolate orange, you can use different flavors. You could do a salted caramel one actually with salted caramel chocolate. They'd be really lovely. And you know, we've got big chunks of chocolate going through there. We've got the chocolate with the chocolate orange segments on the top, but you can add a little bit more. Don't go any more than about 300 grams of chocolate. That's probably your limit. Thing with the Levan cookies is they are packed full of chocolate, so that's why, you know, if you want to take it up a bit more, you can do. As I said, we've got the chocolate orange segments that we just popped on the top. Very easy to make. I did it all in the KitchenAid, but you can do it with a handheld mixer in a large mixing bowl, or you can work those arm muscles and do it by hand with a wooden spoon. You'll just need a couple of baking sheets, cookie sheets, and some baking parchment, or the silicone baking mats as well to bake on. Ice cream scoop, like we've just seen, this one's now dirty, but you can use it for scooping your cookie dough into really nice even sized balls so that you're all about the same size of cookie. If not, like these ones here, you can weigh them out by hand. These are about 65 to 80 grams each, 2 or 3 ounces. And just roll them into balls and place them onto your baking sheet a good couple of inches apart so they can spread. And I'll show you those ones. They're going to come out in a moment anyway. And that's it really. They're really, really quick and simple to do. And they do smell utterly amazing. I'm really desperate to get them out, but once they come out, they will need to chill. Here we go. I can tell you this all at the same time as we take them out of the oven. So So let's take these out and get those in. Oh. So we pop these into the middle about the 180, 350 Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. Then we're going to pop our chocolate orange segments on the top. So let's have a look. These are still warm. Actually, you've just seen them come straight out of the oven. This is, I don't know if you can see very well, but you see how they've spread from a ball into these flat cookies, and then we've got those chocolate orange segments on the top that we popped in just for the last couple of minutes there, and they've started to melt, but they're still holding the shape, and they smell amazing. They really do. I really want one, but they're too warm still to eat now. So the best thing to do is just leave these somewhere on your hob or on a cooling rack, on a heat thing, and let them cool first before you start lifting them off, because they are really soft. That's the whole thing with these levain cookies. They're really, really soft. So you want to let them cool down first on the baking sheet before moving them onto the wire rack. Gina says, oh my God, I could inhale the looks. I'm desperate to get those down, and I've got to have my dinner still. I'm desperate to eat them. And I also have to remember I need to photograph them, so I can't just eat them all at once. So I'm going to have to do them tomorrow, because I'm not going to be ready to photograph this evening, but I'm going to have to do them tomorrow. But yeah, so the second batch are in now. These are the ones that we've rolled, and they'll start like they are at the moment as balls, and then they will melt down. They'll spread out on the baking sheet. But they are. That's them. This is how it is. This one here that is the sort of the size of my head. It was on the perspective. Was about a good couple of inches, but that was probably twice the size of these. So we're looking more of about a 4 to 5 ounce cookie dough ball, and they are big dinner plate size cookies. And for this recipe, you'd probably get about 6 to 8 at the most of those. With the 2 to 3 ounce ones, the 65 to 80 grams sort of size ones that we've done, we've got 6 on one and 5 on another. And actually, I probably could have measured it out a little bit more, and we'd probably have got 12 altogether. But it depends on how big you want to make your balls. If you go with a larger ball, you might need just to squish it a little bit or adjust your cooking time slightly to allow it to spread. But that's what they are. Those guys are over there cooling, and we've got the second batch in the oven. They say after 10 minutes, I'm going to go in and pop the chocolate orange on. But yes, this is it. Thank you very much for joining me on a Wednesday evening. It's another bonus one. We are in Christmas. I've had 2 days of my advent calendar, which is exciting. Chocolate for breakfast, yay! But this is not that far off. It's quite scary. But this Sunday we're going to be doing a chocolate Yule log. So one of those desserts that I said I love having, we're going to be doing a chocolate Yule log on Sunday. I'm going to have one ready to go, and we'll prep the cake for another one. We're going to do a filling, and then we'll do the chocolate buttercream as well for the outside. So that's Sunday. I will be getting around to posting the recipes up as quickly as I can do. It's hectic. Absolutely hectic at the moment, but if anybody wants the recipes or anything, or you want to ask any questions, just drop me an email, drop me a comment, drop me messages, drop it all below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. But as soon as things are ready, I'm going to pop them up onto the Facebook page and everywhere as well, and I'll link to them in the YouTube comments and things. If you have made a Christmas cake, you should have fed it on Sunday. You can also give it an extra feed this evening if you want to, but if not, it's time now to go put your feet up and enjoy your Wednesday evening. I'm going to wait for these to beep and add some more chocolate orange, and then have some dinner, and then get ready to have one of these because they smell so good. But thank you very much for watching again. Thank you all. Thank you, Crumbers. You're all amazing. I love doing these, so it's really appreciated that you guys turn up and say hi as well. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you are safe and well. And until Sunday morning, have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Take care.